Hello, my name is Alex, and I'm based here in the West Country of England, in a town called Bideford. Be great to hear where you're from. Perhaps you'd like to let me know in the comments. And as I mentioned, I'm in the county of Devon. At this time of year, I we've had a few days of warmer weather. I tend to think of chocolate and ice cream for some reason. Not that I'm suggesting what's in my fridge freezer. Okay, but we'll just wait for a few more minutes to see if any um, will join us. Hello from Florida. I'm sure it's warmer there than it is here. Um, so um, let's we'll get rolling in a few seconds. If you have any questions as we go, please pop them in the chat. And if you have any questions as as we go or before we reach the end, you can also pop them in the Q&A, just in case any information gets lost along the way. Alrighty, let's make a start, and I shall share the screen. And there we go. Alrighty, so just to check that everybody's in the right place, today I'm talking about travel consultancy, specifically how you can get paying customers. And at the end, you'll have the opportunity to learn more about the academy and what working with me will be like. So I have a few aims I wish to share with you. So firstly, I'd like to give you as much information as possible. Also to introduce you to my academy. And if you have any questions, please do ask them either as we go along in the chat and or in the Q&A. Now, what I've found over the many years are reasons why people struggle in this industry. So it'd be very good to know whether any of the following resonates with you. So believing customers are going to find you. Now, is this a dangerous assumption to make? Only using a few tools instead of everything available? It is said that, the workmen should never blame their tools. What about technology doing everything? I've heard that AI is going to be the savior, but is that really true? How about, the travel market itself? Is, how much do you need to know? And is it a level playing field? What about being, the master of all? Is this something that's really possible, or is it something that's out of reach? So it'd be great to know which of these resonate with you. And in order to do that, I've got a poll. So let's have a look at a poll. It'd be great to know which of these resonate with you. So just bear with me as I get the poll up. So please vote now, as they say. And the good thing is I'm going to be discussing all of these in our chat today. And I'm going to be splitting them into 3 parts. So I shall be mentioning that soon. So yeah, so we have a fair spread. Just give a few more moments for everybody to have their say. Okay, just a few more moments and then we'll give you the result. So it looks like so far we are at a split between getting more clients and everything. So let's share the percentages. So there you go. So let's back on to the next slide. Just momentarily bring chat so I don't miss any of those. So the three parts I'm going to be sharing with you today is how you might develop a strategy for your travel consultancy, how you might optimize it, and what the journey may be like. But before we do that, just a brief summary about myself. And I'm the founder and visionary of the Seven Figure Traveller, and my commitment is to ensure that your travel passion becomes a thriving venture. And the years I've spent learning and gaining insight, my goal for you is to give you practical knowledge and strategies, whether you're starting out or are striving for travel consultancy success. And from a traveler perspective, it is actually a time of great awareness because not only are travelers looking for new experiences more than ever before, um, some travelers are now looking to, have real connections with the destinations and the countries they're visiting. And some more beyond that are seeking to have and form relationships with people that they go and visit. And over the many decades I've been traveling, well, I've seen that, it's not only a privilege to explore our world, it's a very extensive place, but it's also a reminder of how diverse our world is. It does contain challenges, but it also has hidden gems. But the most important thing I've discovered is that, you can still turn what you know into a profitable venture. And with the wealth of real world knowledge and experience and business insight, I can help you build a sustainable business that gets paying customers. Now, at first glance, it may seem unrelated to have a background in IT and sport, but the thing is, it's given me a unique perspective around travel, plus an understanding of the importance of effective planning and using the right technology. You see, every detail matters, and I'm going to show you how you can leverage these skills. And honing what works and what doesn't is important. And the one thing I've realized is often it's the voice of the traveler that's often unheard. Therefore, my mission is to change and amplify your unique voice and experience so that together we can bring the best version of you, whether that's seeking personal fulfillment or building the travel consultancy you wish to be proud of. So I hope that sounds good. So why is now the right time to be thinking about this? Well, we all know that there's been a thing called a pandemic and lots of lockdowns. And what that did during that period was it built up a pent-up desire with travelers all around the world. And it's a bit like an old-fashioned kettle that you used to put on a hot plate, and when it was boiling, it would whistle out of control. And this desire was so strong, well, it means it's still a great time to be monetizing travel and not to be acting at this time as in effect missing out. Now, sure, you can wait to another time, but when's it going to be like this again? It's like the story of the tree. When was the best time to plant the tree? 20 years ago. When's the next time? Now. But maybe you're not thinking about that. Maybe you just want to know how much, money you can make out of this. Well, it depends. It depends on how much effort you're willing to put in, how much time, whether you're willing to invest in yourself. Because in 6 to 9 months, you can make good money out of the travel business. And it is true that there are opportunities all around us, but maybe you're wondering, isn't the environment we're in very competitive? But if all you had to do was to learn how to differentiate, wouldn't that be a good reason to do something? But isn't there, economic uncertainty? But what if you could create, a stable and, income that provided financial security? Wouldn't that be a good reason? The thing is, right now, travelers are being underserved, and following businesses being following, or at least that's what they called it in the United Kingdom. What it caused was businesses, not just in the travel business, but in many others, to become effectively invisible and to give the perception of overusing technology, to kind of disconnect. But if you look at this picture of a typical UK airport, everybody knows that there's a lot of technology contained in aircraft today. But the thing is, there are still pilots, there's still people serving people on board. It's still, you still need people to load and unload aircraft, whether it be food or luggage. And even from time to time, people driving empty aircraft from stand to stand. So, because of this perception of a disconnect, this is why it's still a great opportunity to be operating in the travel consultancy space. So I hope that makes sense. So let's jump into the first section here and talk a bit about strategy. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people have said that they're unclear on a few things. How to have a well-defined structure, how to navigate complex roadmaps, how to have a strong system of support and guidance. Because without these things, it can be like being cast adrift and being unsure how to build a travel consultancy. Another way of putting this is it's effectively not standing out in the travel space. So let's have a look at each of these in turn. So what do we mean by structure? Well, it means establishing clear goals and objectives, the what and the why. It's about making choices about your target market. Because if you miss any of these things out, you're effectively missing out on your unique value and your growth opportunity. And without them, it can cause feelings of overwhelm, wondering where to begin and how to grow. Now, it's not the only kind of support structure, because, at some point you obviously want your business to grow, and you'll, want to perhaps employ extra people to help you with tasks or to grow the business. No, it's not the only thing, but it's about not leaving things to chance. And when I worked with John, he had he had no idea where he wanted to begin. He knew he loved travel, but he was unsure how to turn his passion into direction. And the main thing that we identified was that he was struggling asking his clients the right questions. So when we worked together, we worked on framing these questions, which I call asking and listening. Now, it's effectively building relationships through conversation. And if you've ever wondered how the best ways of starting conversations, I always start with the 3 W's and the H, the what, the when, the where, and the how. So let's have a look at a few examples that we worked on together. So if you have clients who are interested in a tennis group holiday, they love restaurants, but they're not keen on taxi rides, you might ask them what resorts they want to go to. But if you want to tease out the taxi ride issues, you also need to be asking about the important facilities they want at said resorts. If you have clients who love islands but are not great on small planes, you might ask them when they want to go. But if you want to ensure that they have a smooth ride, you also need to be asking about the additional aspects they prefer to avoid. Now, a lot of clients these days, they have favorite brands, don't they? So you might ask them what chains they like. However, if you want to enhance their experience, perhaps those optional extras, those special occasions, you need to be asking uh, extra questions. And in a sense, it's an information gathering exercise, which could be any of these things. And sometimes when it has the appearance of being done really well, it's sometimes referred to as predictive service. But I think the real magic is asking the right questions. And this is something that John is a lot more confident on now. The questions, the answers are always in the questions. So we've looked at relationships, but what about roadmaps? Well, roadmaps are essentially about, identifying the niche you wish to operate in, what your target market might look like, how to get into planning, marketing, finance, and compliance. It's a system to avoid potholes. Now, nobody likes driving over them, so why should we accept them anywhere else? And not going on a road trip or a road map is, effectively, if you don't do it, you're missing out some of the necessary steps. And not having them is a bit like having a jigsaw with some of the pieces missing. You miss out, you could miss out on the big picture. And in the worst case scenario, the whole thing falls apart. And it's essentially about knowing about all the right elements and going deeper when you need to. Something I get told quite frequently is that there's rather too much information and noise out there on the internet. And of course, in certain circumstances, it can affect people's confidence. And one of the things you can do to mitigate this is really to focus on the area of the travel industry that you love the most and follow sets of steps to ensure you reach the outcome that you're looking for. Another area that sometimes gets overlooked is the role that consultants play in travel. I had the privilege a few years ago to go to a desert in Western Australia, and you really can appreciate both its beauty and isolation. But you don't necessarily know what it takes to get there. Now, it's not about scaring the punters. I just remember having looked at the outstanding redness of the desert I was standing in and watching this road disappear into a shimmering distance. When I stopped that and looked at the coach that we'd all showed up on, there was a big pipe coming out the outside, there was an aerial, there was a satellite dish, there was enough food and water on board to sustain 50 people for days on end. So, there is an essence, isn't there, of being mindful about what it takes to provide these services. But it's not the only thing to be mindful of. We can be so busy looking after other people that we forget to think about ourselves because, we deserve a roadmap as much as anyone else. And when I was working with a lady called Joyce, she had run a travel shop for quite a number of years, and she made the bold decision to start a second one. But she couldn't understand why she couldn't keep her staff. But the thing was, she was fixated on running the second shop exactly the way that she ran her existing shop. So when we worked together, we worked on what I call trust and process. And essentially, what it means is letting go a bit, allowing your staff to gain their own perspective. Because if you are, if you're willing to trust someone enough to employ them, you need to be able to let go of the business a little to give them their perspective of your business. And it also helps you get a better perspective of your own business because they bring their perspectives. And it's all about new experiences after all. That's part of of growing a business. And, remember when we were the smaller version of ourselves, we were always encouraged, weren't we, to gain new experiences. I never had a toy like that, but I'd have loved to have had one. And, experiences and new ones, shouldn't end when we're a young person and become an adult. It's just as important later and even more important when we start our own business or, work in the travel space. So now that we've looked at the importance, having a good structure and a well-defined roadmap, let's look at the next vital pillar of support. And support can be both exciting and challenging, well, provided it's the right kind of support. And of course, support isn't just about getting people unstuck. It's about plugging into a network of individuals that can help you navigate uncharted waters, provide you mentorship and guidance. Because without that, you can have gaps in your knowledge. You can face challenges and missed opportunities. And it's worth remembering that throughout any support journey, it's not meant to be solitary. Yeah, support is there to provide the assistance in ways that you can grow and navigate and find those opportunities. So next, we're going to go deeper and a bit more specific about how you can transform your business ambitions. And one area I want to talk about next is when I worked with a man called Jason, and he was telling me that he had travelers who were feeling they hadn't been listened to. And this harks back to what I was mentioning a little bit earlier about lockdowns when, well, businesses were forced to readjust and retreat online. But it was the perception that his existing clients were struggling with. So when we worked together, we worked on what I call the power of listening. And essentially, it's being willing to ask a question and then shut up. Because, well, clients, they are, they do like to do things on their own, right? And some of them are actually really smart. And they are essentially a great source of information, of which the best kinds of clients are the ones that are time poor individuals. Now, obviously not the only kind. There are clients who don't mind organizing the short trips, but would prefer not to do the more complicated ones. And obviously there are also people who lack the confidence to organize their travel full stop. But the thing that they all benefit from is the ability for us to give them their time back. And essentially, all this information gathering that me and Jason worked on is really about understanding your audience better, because we're in the helping game, and how we can help people travel better is the name of the game. And Jason is feeling a lot more confident about having conversations, and this is really an important element. Now, before I jump on to the next section, let me just give you a few tips here. So customers, as I've been saying, they really do want to feel a connection with the people they're buying from. And because we're so unique, this is to our advantage. And visibility is such an important part of this. And, not just in a physical sense, but online as well. And when it's done right, this is something that customers really like. Now, I just wanted to mention a number to you, 5 billion. Yeah, it is said that 5 billion people will step on an aeroplane at least once during this calendar year. And this is significant because this is more people traveling than has ever occurred in human history. It's an absolutely extraordinary number. So it's more important than ever that if we want some of them on coming to us, that visibility is part of our strategy. So I just wanted to briefly mention that at the end of the session, I'm going to be offering a chance to have a chat to me. And it's really all about being open to change, about talking through a process, how you might find more paying customers and how you can work with me and get the answers to important questions. It's also being willing to stop everything else and commit to one thing and then trust that process. And the real question here is, are you getting enough paying customers? And, how much is it worth to you to fix any challenges that you're facing? Well, if you do have any challenges and you want to find out whether you can solve them, then I have 10 slots open today. And the way to take advantage of them is either to follow the web address at the bottom there called bit.ly/traveler-discovery, or to hover your phone over this strange squarey thing called a QR code. Don't worry if you can't see this information or you're not ready to do any scanning. These codes and addresses are going to appear at various points through the rest of our time today. So let's next jump into part 2 about how you might optimize your business. And generally, we split it between how you can adjust or refine. So what do I mean by adjusting? Well, it's achieving your optimal potential, or to put it another way, to strategically adjust. And one area I found that's ineffective is personal visibility. And the consequences of not being, visible is not being able to engage your customers, not being able to establish trust and authority, and missing the chance to create your personal brand. Now, if you're thinking that it's a crowded market, then maybe you need to be a bit more specific. Instead, why not consider specificity and visibility? They're a bit like holding a bunch of keys. When you have them and you use them, it's like a passport to another world. And when it comes to visibility, I used to think that window shopping was a made-up thing. So one day, I made up my mind to visit my local high street, and I went into a shop that had products and services I was reasonably interested in. And I respectfully joined a queue and I turned around, and pretty soon people were looking through the window. And there's an interesting psychology to this, I think, because if someone or a couple is willing to put their noses up against a window, there's already a kind of soft liking about the products and services inside. Now they want to know is if they like the people who are selling said products and services. So, visibility in a physical sense is very important. And it's all of these things, they work together in tandem. But the most important thing that it achieves is that it gets people to make decisions. Now, no one likes being surrounded by people who cannot make up their minds, right? So getting people to make decisions is part of the process. If you have a physical shop, right, you have to be okay, don't you, with people walking by. So being visible online is even more important. But this is not the only kind, right? Because the other thing that has an impact on this is the content that you produce. And certainly, you don't want to be vague or confusing. And let's bust a few myths here. You don't want to be the same as everyone else. You don't want to be going around matching everybody else. So content is made up of several elements, a bit like visibility. But the most important thing content has in common with visibility is getting people to make decisions. And this was something I worked together with Chloe on. She had organized a trip to the lovely West Country city of Bristol in the southwest of England. It's a city of hills and a famous bridge by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. But the problems weren't with visiting the city, it was what happened to her clients on the return journey. And it was just one of those days where everything that could go wrong did go wrong. First, there were people invaded the railway line. When this was fixed and the train eventually arrived in the city of Exeter, the train broke down, and all attempts to find replacement rolling stock ended up the same way. So what kind of day was happening here? Well, it was an excessive heat day, and basically all the technology, all the rolling stock was just like falling over. So me and Chloe, we worked on this together, and I call it adjusting and preparing. And essentially, it's about how you react to change, because change happens right in our world. And the two aspects we discussed was how you think and adjust. Okay, so one piece of advice she could have given was to simply ask her clients to wait an hour when maybe the train company had sorted out all their problems. But really, the second part of the equation is actually more important, and it's about setting the right expectations. And this can only really be done in advance. So if you are aware, for instance, that a train operating company struggles in excessive heat conditions, then it's really in your interest to think of the trip planning in a kind of holistic way. Now, depending on the type of customers that you're looking after, you either tell them or you don't tell them. That's what you're doing in the background. But the thing that they want to know and to feel when they call you in a situation like this is that you set the right expectations and you have a plan B and a plan C. And the ability to adjust in these situations, which you can't always predict. You're not all in the UK, but the weather can be unpredictable, and the technology that goes with it can act unpredictably as well. So that's how you might do adjusting. So what might refining look like? Well, also in the southwest of England is a regional airport, and it handles about 10 million passengers a year. It has 12 airlines, but one airline in particular is the most dominant. And on the day that I visited it, its bright and airy terminal, there was already tension in the air. I could hear trolleys being bumped into other trolleys. Voices were being raised, and I was thinking, "Oh my goodness!" By the time these good folk reach the front of the queue, they're going to need a second trip to get over the first one they haven't gone on yet. So how might that how might you mitigate that? Well, they could have shown up a little bit earlier when perhaps the queues were shorter. Perhaps this airline they were going with had online check-in, for goodness sake, and they could have just checked their bags in and joined a separate shorter queue when they arrived at the airport. But if you have any knowledge of low-cost airlines, you will appreciate that you're lucky if you get a seat, right? So if you are aware that you have nervous or impatient passengers, then it's in your interest surely to consider sending them on a journey, even if it's another hour or two, to another airport where the right conditions exist that suit the people that you're looking after. Because the thing is, if you're going on a business trip, you want to arrive in a state of readiness to be the best version of yourself. If you're going on a holiday or a vacation, you want to arrive at said destination in a relaxed state of mind to take in your new experiences in the best frame of mind. So whilst it might be tempting to end the relationship with your prospective clients at the moment they've purchased their trip, it really is in your interest to carry on that conversation, because the knowledge of the kind of clients you're working with is really important. And it harks back to something I mentioned a little earlier. It's just, the importance of understanding your audience is really important, because we're in the helping game, and we can help them best and better because we understand them. Because as we've already discussed, change can happen at any moment. And there is this saying that change is inevitable, but how we react to change is optional. So the importance of being able to adjust and refine is an important element of what we're up to here. So I hope that makes sense. Now, next, one thing we obviously desire to be is in front of our ideal client. And showing off, as I describe it, is really showing how good you are. And showing how good you are only really needs to be enough to provide your clients or prospective clients with enough confidence. And it's really about how you can personalize things, because when you know a lot of things about one area that you specialize and know the most about, what it enables you to do is to personalize the experience. And this is something that is part of differentiating yourself from other providers. And that differentiation really is about looking after people more closely. And one thing I like to recommend people ask clients for are pictures and videos. No, it's more than just about being interested in how they're doing. It's, because we've all looked at the brochures, haven't we? The sun always shines, doesn't it, on the brochure? The swimming pool is always full to the top. There's never any shortage of drinks at the bar, etc., etc. And it's not always like that. Now, it's not about catching your suppliers and providers out, because that's a relationship too. No, we haven't got time to discuss your suppliers and providers today, but the importance of getting pictures and videos, like I say, isn't about catching them out. It's about developing that side of your relationship as well, because your clients will appreciate you representing them, but handled correctly, you can also improve the products and services that are being provided. And it's a very, it's a checks and balances, isn't it? How you communicate and build constantly, or building on relations. When it comes to technology, we're all familiar with companies like Amazon and Apple, and normally they're usually, they're regarded, aren't they? Because they provide quick service, it's responsive, and it's available on mobile devices. And it's also important, therefore, that whatever service you're providing also has technology that is, follows those attributes as well. Because one thing that's really important is the longer people engage with the technology you use, this is part of it's part of the process that will encourage them to choose you. And if you were sending clients to a Champagne region, you will no doubt want to show them pictures and videos of people, trying new flavors of champagne, so that when it's their turn to have their first glass of champagne, they've already counted up all the bubbles. It's all about the moments, isn't it, that we introduce through the technology that we have available. Not that I'm suggesting I like champagne. So let's summarize this section by just highlighting a few things that I've raised. So the importance of visibility is important across the board, and focusing on what matters is certainly something very effective you can do, and it will help you to get in front of ideal clients. And the more you personalize, the more you'll be able to differentiate yourself. And differentiation is really about looking after people more deeply, and of course providing a great experience and a great technical experience. So how might your journey look like? Well, there's always been travelers, right? Ever since a smaller version of myself went to this airport many years ago, yes, in London. And where I'm standing it used to be known as the Queen's Building, and I'm looking down on an area that had a tuck shop, very important. But the most exciting thing it had was that it had speakers blaring out the conversations between pilots and air traffic controllers. And where I was standing, you had a complete 360-degree view of the airfield. And myself and all the other people there, there was no way it wasn't going to get us excited about travel. And the thing about travel is once you start it never really ends. Yeah, it forces you to make decisions about places you like and where you want to go to. In this particular airport, this was a long time ago, this is an example of what departure gates used to look like. You literally could just walk up off the street right up to the where the departure area was. And when an aircraft was ready to depart, someone would just wander down the steps, check your tickets, and you could wander across the tarmac. In this particular aircraft, the stairs were built into the rear. And if there was a bit of a queue, when it was your turn to board, these built-in stairs could be a little bit bouncy. So you experienced a bit of turbulence whilst you were still on the ground. Now, the sharp-eyed amongst you might have noticed a bicycle. Well, it's actually known as a fire retardant equipment. It always makes me smile because I often wonder what the advert for this would have been. Only fit people need apply. Well, hopefully the fire department has much improved at Dubrovnik. And going with journeys, journeys really are as unique as we are. And back in the day when I was having a boat trip with my grandfather, well, he used to be in the Navy and was a submariner back in the early part of the 20th century, when a lot of people just didn't travel at all. And being a cheeky monkey, I would always, I would stand up and tell my grandfather I was the captain and maybe he should scrub the decks. And of course, he would just chuckle at the end of the boat. And, sadly, I didn't get to know him as an adult, but I often wonder what journeys he was replaying. And the thing about journeys is that we not only replay them, but we also play the journeys that we want to go on, that we're intending to go on, that we are going on. And as we've previously discussed, we're much more in control of those journeys than we think. They're more than just physical beginnings and endings. How we think about the journeys, how we prepare and how we adjust and refine journeys really matters, because it's that determines our success in going on our journeys and reaching our destinations. Hopefully, KLM have more up-to-date aircraft than this. Now, okay. Now, the point of the day is not to make you like me, and I hope that's okay, because one thing that's happening out there is, well, in my opinion, a lot of people are wasting their time because they're doing all of these things and not getting the results they want. And, working hard without getting results is not a great situation to be in. And one thing that people talk to me about is they don't have a proper roadmap. Now, in my experience in the academy, I get to meet two kinds of people. I get to meet experienced people who just need a sense of direction, and I get to meet inexperienced people who need to visit everywhere. But of course, in reality, we're all somewhere in between, aren't we? And the journey is about beginning somewhere and going somewhere. And I call it starting and outcomes. And well, you'll not be surprised to hear that outcomes is something I discuss with students very early, because if you don't know what outcome you wish to achieve, it's very difficult to achieve it. And one way you identify what the gaps are is, well, it's not believing that customers are just going to find you. It's not just using a few tools, it's using the right tools. It's not assuming that technology is going to do it for you. It doesn't mean you have to not know technology. It's understanding the relevant parts of the travel market. It's not necessarily trying to be the master of everything. And one thing I see quite frequently is people not identifying what works, what doesn't. And it really is important to be able to measure things, because how do you know if things are working or not, unless you do some element of measuring? And we achieve this by following steps and guides. Another important aspect of this is obviously building a community of travelers around you and getting to meet other travelers. And it's more than just community is more than just about gaining information. It's about sharing perspectives. And even if you were to meet another travel professional that worked in a similar space to yourself, the thing to remember is the perspectives that clients and prospective clients relate to. And that is, one of the key indicators. Now, later on down the road, you'll hopefully need people to help you. You may even wish to expand your business. Now, the traditional way of achieving this might be to hire freelancers or even to have staff. But I'm looking at an additional way of looking at this, because there are two things that we are sometimes short of. And we need to eat sometimes, and we need to sleep. And your clients might be on the other side of the world. So having the option of people that could represent you might be an option to consider down the road. So what's the journey? What could the journey be like? Well, it's been shown how to do it properly from the get-go. It's doing it on day one. It's learning and applying knowledge as you go. It really is about the process of turning strangers into best friends. Because if you're willing to follow lots of steps, you can earn good money into 6 to 9 months. But in order to do that, you need to build a process that improves your confidence, that you are using all the tools you should be using, that you are building relationships that lead to best friends. You take advantage of what's part of you and enables you to provide great experiences. You certainly want to specialize, because it's specializing that people are most impressed with. And when you combine all these things, it will enable you to be someone who's a great crafter, who can prepare and adapt to situations and be a responsive individual, and above all, to deliver the value your customers are looking for. So you don't need to be the master of all. You just need a process plus a plan. Now, I realize, you're passionate and you deserve to get better results, which is why I'm offering an online only opportunity. So if you'd like me to personally help you gain a flow of more consistent results, this is something for you to consider. And it's about following a roadmap to improve your visibility, to utilize the power of listening, to focus on the area that means the most to you, to bring out the uniqueness that's within us all, so that when you're in front of your ideal client, you can be the most effective version of yourself. And to do that, you need to go on a journey and follow a roadmap, to follow steps and guides, to give and to receive feedback, to grow and take part in a community, to maybe have the option of specialists to plug into later. So what do you get when you join this academy? Well, you get 12 months access. You get all the feedback you need. You get all the resources you need. You get accountability, because we all need a bit of a push. You get weekly calls with myself. You get access to the building community, plus the option of specialists down the road if you want it. And it's all on a subscription basis, and it's only available online. And in order to find out if it's for you, you just follow this web address or follow the QR code. So let's just summarize. The package is for 12 months. It's all the feedback you need. It's all the resources. It's the accountability. It's the weekly calls. It's access to a community and the option of support specialists. Now, because I realize how important establishing the right outcome is, for the first 5 people that actually join the academy, I'm providing a one-to-one clarity call, because it really is amazingly important, and it is the foundation of any journey to be really clear on the outcomes that you're looking for. So we're approaching the end of our time together, and I just wanted to highlight a few things. So basically, if you like what you've heard today, this is an opportunity to go on your own journey and become a navigator and to jump on board. It does involve investing in yourself and your business. And it's really the question you should be asking yourself is it worth sorting out the challenges that you're facing? And well, if you're not sure, the only way to really find out is to jump on a call and see if it is what you need. No, I get it. This sort of program's not for everyone. It requires consistent effort. But if you like stories, and if you were, when you were a young person, did we not like having stories told to us? And in the travel industry, it's stories that sell journeys. Now, if you're someone who wants to be known with something, well, you need to become it first in order to get there. And the thing is, the academy is not a done for you, it's a done with you. And the important distinction is that it's, we're on your side. Yeah, it's in our interests for you to succeed as much as it is in your own. And because it's about learning about the process to get paying customers. Yes, it involves crossing several bridges, but it's about delivering a good service, your version of good service. And What does that mean? Well, it means not forgetting. And, you know, that's the one thing that your customers and prospective customers will think is amazing, because when you get to that position, they will likely follow you anywhere. So thank you very much for staying with me to the end. Let's see if there are any questions. Let's see. Let's have a look at the Q&A. Oops, if I click on the right place. Well, there doesn't appear to be any at the moment, but not to worry. A recording of today will be sent round to everyone. And so if you think of any questions you didn't think of today, then you are welcome to drop me a line at alex@sevenfiguretraveler.com. Alrighty. I hope you have an amazing day, and it's been lovely to see you. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.